Hello again. I'd like to welcome you back. This is Vincent Gaetano, and I'd like to pontificate a little bit more on the ways and path of Sinistersim. So, I have a lot of ideas for these videos, and I have a lot of plans in my head, and sometimes I feel like it's a little too much, because I have a lot to talk about. But what I'd like to do, starting now, is basically pinpoint and isolate each basic concept, each main point of Sinistersim, and, like I say, pontificate on it and kind of delve into it a bit deeper, and just kind of have a video on each topic so that you kind of understand the fullness and how one aspect of Sinistersim kind of informs the others. So, I have my, basically, you can call it a manuscript, really, because I'm in the process of creating a book. That'll make this whole thing a lot easier, obviously. And so what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much just going to go write down the list with each video and just talk about each point. So the first point I have is freedom. Now, of course, if you've watched my other videos on this way and this path, then you know that freedom and being the keys and being the gates to your own journey on the left-hand path is really the essence of Sinistersim. It is the path of creating your own path. It's like a toolkit. It's like a toolbox for the left-hand path practitioner to make his or her own belief based on a system. And it's like the system of creating your own system. You'll know what that means as we go, as we go here. So, the path of Sinistersim encourages adepts to explore and open any and all gates open to them on the left-hand path. This means making use of any system, ritual, concept, being, daemon, etc. upon the left-hand path. So what really does that mean? As a left-hand path practitioner, you are the other. You are the opposite of convention. You are the opposite of mainstream culture and mainstream society. So that already puts you in a fleeing state of being. You're in a very, classically adversarial, satanic way of being. You are living your life in a way that is just simply not like other people. So right there, the left-hand path, even if it's outside of the context of Sinistersim, it is a free path. It is a path of freedom. And so what Sinistersim aims to do is to make that utterly whole. So, for example, if you take Temple of Set members. Now, I respect the Temple of Set. Let's be honest. Although it's a left-hand path organization, although I have a massive amount of respect for Michael Aquino, even though he doesn't run the Temple of Set anymore, but there are still things you need to do to join the Temple of Set, meaning your life has to look a certain way for them to even consider you. You sort of have to. It's not that you have to believe in certain preset things, but you can't really be a total atheist and really join the Temple of Set, because then they kind of just look at you as a joke. They are not. And then same thing with the Church of Satan. Same thing with the Satanic Temple, that joke of an organization. Those aren't really, you're still joining something. And although that's okay, because if you join the Church of Satan, it's way different than joining some right-hand path organization, that doesn't sit right with me. And so what Sinistersim aims to do is to bring the power back into the main star, which is, of course, you. Every man and every woman is a star. Aleister Crowley said that, and it's 100% true. You can be the Superman of your own life. And with the left-hand path, being a free being is almost not... It's not 100% possible in the Church of Satan. It's not 100% possible in the Temple of Set, because you're in an organization. You've joined something. Even if you think, well, yeah, but it's like the Church of Satan says, an organization of non-joiners. Okay, well, you have to pay $200 to get a little card, and, you know, that would seem a bit silly, to really call it that when you need to pay money to join something that isn't really going to give you much anyway. So, what Sinistersim aims to do is it aims to bring, like I said, the power back to the star, meaning instead of joining the Temple of Set, you read about the Temple of Set, and you go, well, wow, like I do, I really like this aspect of what they do. I think that that's very refined, and they do that in a very sophisticated, good way, okay? But I'm not going to join the Temple of Set. I've said it before in these videos. I have a massive amount of respect for Aleister Crowley. I think that he is really, you could almost say, a lord of the left-hand path. He basically opened the gates for a lot of these adversarial, a lot of these anti-dominion, satanic left-hand path ideas. He was a pioneer of all that, despite the fact that it is thought that he was not a black musician, was not a black magician, and was not a Satanist in the traditional sense. He is a lord of the left-hand path, and there will be a video about that in the future, without a doubt. I can look at what he did and utterly appreciate it, and utterly take the law of Thelema as a part of my own sinister path. But I have no interest in what the AA or, any of his OTO or whatever, any of his organizations are doing now. I have no interest, because they don't resonate with me as much as the Book of the Law by itself resonates with me. Anton LaVey, the person, and the Church of Satan, the person, doesn't resonate with me as much as the Satanic Bible itself resonates with me, because that's the person. Anton LaVey is the person. I don't follow a person. I just appreciate a book. Just like how I am a massive fan of Michael W. Ford and his Luciferianism. It's not the only Luciferianism. It's not, okay, I'm going to read Michael W. Ford's books, and now I'm a Luciferian, that's what I am, and I'm never going to look at anything else. Now, that's fine if you were to do that, because you'd be a pretty powerful person. Michael W. Ford is no joke. He's authentic, and so I have a high level of respect for people who are Luciferians within the context of Michael W. Ford's Luciferianism. That's no problem with that whatsoever. But I say all this to say that I just feel that the left-hand path and Sinistersim is about dispelling any chains, even if they don't really affect you that much. Even if you're a member of the Church of Satan, you go, well, I'm a Satanist. Obviously the Church of Satan does not dictate what you can or cannot read, but at the same time, go on their website and ask Peggy Nadramia, who is one of the high priests or something like that. Ask her about occultism, just in a general sense, and watch how she reacts. Now, I've never done it, because I have no interest. I don't need to ask her about things. I know what I'm doing. But they utterly disrespect people, and they utterly, make fun of people. That's not a left-hand path organization. That's pretty much getting towards a right-hand path organization. And again, this is not a bashing Church of Satan video. That's not what it's about at all. It's just saying that you can get the point that I'm making. The left-hand path is a path of the self. The left-hand path is a path of reading and interpreting. The left-hand path is a path of invoking and receiving what it is that you've invoked. Nobody tells you what to invoke. Nobody tells you what to feel or what sensations to expect. You do it. You enter the ritual chamber, and you have the experience that you have, whatever that may be. The Sinisterist realizes that he is the left-hand path. Literally, he is the path. The left-hand path is not a path that we all find and then we walk on together. Now, of course, there's camaraderie. If I see someone with a pentagram, I go, what's up? And I know what he's about. But just as reality is different for all of us, and we almost have our own perception of reality, so much so to the point where people, it almost seems like mentally and spiritually they are living in totally different worlds because their perception can be so radically different than my perception or your perception. So is the left-hand path. The road that I take on the left-hand path is a different path than the path that you take, because that is the essence of the path. Each person almost carves out their own left-hand path. And so if this is to be true, then Sinisterism is the left-hand path. I aim to make Sinisterism the most open and most free of all the left-hand paths, because this is the nature of the left-hand path. I'm a Satanist, I'm a Luciferian, I'm a pagan, I'm a heretic, I'm a Sinisterist. All of these terms and all of these names have become something separate, and that's fine, because I would never, ever wish to say there is no Luciferianism and there is no Satanism, it's all just Sinisterism. I would never do that, because that's a joke. People have a reason to label themselves what they want to label themselves, and obviously a Luciferian who, adheres to Michael W. Ford's work and stuff like that, then that's fine. But what I am saying is that if you are on this path, and you are similar to me, and you have always felt that you are just this open gate to the left-hand path, because that is the word of Sinisterism, that you are the gate and you are the key. If you feel like that, then you don't fit in with the paradigm. As Thomas Leroy said, from the sect of the Horn God, and a man that I really appreciate and kind of he's a comrade. He said, let me see. Basically, the Sinisterist is someone who does not fit into any pre-established paradigm fully. So, even if they, like me, they appreciate certain aspects of contemporary Satanism, they appreciate certain aspects of traditional paganism, they simply cannot put themselves into that 100% because it doesn't work for them. If I look at the Church of Satan, I can't agree with everything they do and everything they say. I just simply can't. And so therefore, it's time for me to make my own path. It's time for me to find my own key and discover my own gate and go forth. Because if I were to join the Church of Satan, again, I'm just using that as an example. There are literally thousands of organizations out there, but if I were to join the Temple of Set, the Greater Church of Lucifer, I would be forcing myself into a box, no matter how much it seemed like I wasn't. I would be putting myself in a pre-established paradigm that I may find difficult to get out of. And again, is it meant to slander other left-hand path organizations and ways? It's just to say that Sinisterists and this path of Sinisterism is the path of the true free adept. It is the path of the true person of a satanic nature. It is the true path of someone who realizes that the law of Lucifer is the only law, and that even that relates to the left-hand path in a very pragmatic way, and that freedom is not only the word of the left-hand path, but it is the word of the human spirit. And if the left-hand path is to be the path that coincides with the human spirit the best, then Sinistersim is the way of the human nature and of the right-hand path. So, hail freedom, hail the way of Sinistersim. I appreciate you watching. If you have any thoughts, questions, anything, please send me a message. And again, check out my blog, which is called Rights to the Self. And stay tuned for more videos and more blogs on the way and path of Sinistersim. Hail Sinister Arcana. Thank you very much. Have a great day.